Hi there everyone, Lars here with another D&D review brought to you by Camille's Harem. Not just a podcast for novice writers by novice writers, but also a YouTube channel by novice writers for novice writers. Because writing is an adventure, it's more fun with friends. And Matt Mercer has proven me correct. Yes, thank you, Matt. If you don't know, Matt Mercer and his friends over at Critical Role are right now engaged in their third campaign, and this campaign has largely been taking place within the city of Drusar, and almost everything that has happened, even though there are wide world implications and events playing out around the characters, basically everything is happening within this massive city. And it's awesome, because this just goes to show what I said in a video more than a year ago, that you might want to consider placing your campaign within a city. Why? Because there's so many amazing things that you can do with a city campaign. To kind of sum up what I said in that video, I had a list of points, which I went into greater detail there, and I will definitely link that video for you to check out, but I'll reiterate that list just very briefly right here. For one thing, you can curb murder hobo tendencies. Now then, within Critical Role, there's no player other than Grog, that's more a character, but there's really no player within the Critical Role family that is a murder hobo. We've had some murder hobo-esque characters, but yeah, within a city, really no one can just go nuts and just start murdering people, not even Ashton in this newest campaign. So cities curb the murder hobo tendencies. And there's also just so much going on. This is one of the things that makes Campaign 3 just really rich. There is so much happening within the city of Drusar, with all this intrigue, political infighting, sabotage, assassinations, gangs, monsters. Everything is happening within the city, and they have only begun to scratch the surface of what is all happening within the city of Drusar. That's just something that cities have. Cities are popping. There's always so much going on. And I will still stand by what I said. It's easier for new DMs to really manage a story within a city rather than taking into account a massive world that they have to micromanage. Cities are also just a fantastic place for all different kinds of role-playing opportunities. Now granted, the Dungeon Master might find himself or herself, like Matt has been, role-playing basically with himself because there's just so many characters, because that's what a city brings. It brings all these different characters. But if you manage the game just right, you provide plenty of opportunities for your players to interact with a whole wide variety of different characters, and honestly just have a ton of fun with that. And really, there's just so much hidden potential within a city campaign that it's something that you should definitely try out. Not just because Matt Mercer's doing it. Heck, I was saying this long before Campaign 3 rolled around. So, thank you, Matt Mercer, for proving me correct. But let's also have a little bit of fun right here. I'm done gloating and patting myself on the back. But let's talk a little bit more about the potential of city campaigns. What else you can do with them. I want to highlight the idea of hidden potential and tons of opportunities to do good role-playing. One thing that Matt Mercer has done very well so far with Critical Role's third season, or third campaign, is that he has provided tons of opportunities for the players to explore various backstories and various avenues within the city. This is something that the crew has done fantastically. There has obviously been a lot of work to provide intricate backstories to each one of the players and their characters, and who they can talk to, what kinds of enemies or friends they might have within the city of Drusar. And what this does is that it allows for the experience to not be so much of a fish out of water, welcome to the big city, woo, we're overwhelmed and who knows what's going to happen next. But in this case, all of the characters have someone that they can go to, or they have connections, or they have a goal within the city that they are aiming for. What is good about this is that it means that each choice that characters make, especially if it's for their own story, matters. It really matters because that choice and that goal are obtainable within the city. It's not just like a, hey, you know what? I would like to go see what's on the boards in the guilds. Like, I want to see what kinds of bounties there are, what kind of jobs there are. Or, you know what, I'm interested in going over to the glass-blowing quarter of the city. Those are things that you can easily explore. That's the hidden potential within any good city campaign. But rather instead, the players within Campaign 3, they now know, like, okay, this is a place I can go. This is a character I can talk to. These are my contacts. These are my enemies. And what this all does is it allows for the world to feel vibrant and alive. And that's what you really want in a good D&D campaign. You want everyone to feel fully immersed in this story. And this just adds an extra layer of depth and involvement in that every player, from Liam to Sam to Taliesin and to just everyone has basically input, like, these are our goals, these are the people that we want to talk to, and everyone's got context, everyone's got background stories within the city, and we get to explore that together. Alright, so I realize I'm getting a little bit rambly right here, so let me just bring this all together and say, what this means is that, again, a city campaign can keep the overall story pretty well contained, and everyone already has something of their own story within the overall campaign easily accessible. This allows for each player and character to get to know one another better, faster. This is excellent. It allows for a lot of role-playing, allows for a lot of character interaction, which all leads to character growth. A story lives or dies by its characters, and Dungeons & Dragons is no exception to that. If characters do not receive any sort of growth or development throughout the campaign is nowhere near as fun as it could be. And so far, Matt Mercer and his friends over at Critical Role have been doing a fantastic job of that. Now, of course, this is a channel for novice writers, so what can we learn for writing our own stories by looking at city campaigns and what's been happening so far in Critical Role Campaign 3? Well, what I would say is this. Again, if you're going to choose to set your story within a city, I would highly recommend bringing in a whole bunch of different sweet contacts and side stories, or normally, as we would call them, subplots. Now, let me explain myself here. Normally within a story, a subplot is just that. It's something that just runs on the side of the regular plot, and it could be very fulfilling, or it could be a total drain of time and energy within the story. However, when you place everything within the confines of a city, what this means for you is that you've effectively multiplied the potential for every single subplot and for every character that you've added in. Someone who might have been the waitress that one character was flirting with, well, come to find out, she's actually the wife to the city guard person who you need to bribe or you need to threaten in order to get into the palace. Like, that's just kind of like a little neat thing right there. Or you can make it even more intricate if, like, you're doing underworld stuff where you have all of these different gangs of thieves and criminals and cutthroats, kind of like what I did for the gangs of Aerolisle, which just means that all of these different things happening around the city that have to do with theft or with crime are all interconnected. Or what it could also mean is that noble that your main character decided to insult, well, he or she's right around the corner and could easily enact some vengeance that could make things difficult for your heroes later on down the road. Effectively, within a city, because everything's confined, everything matters. And what this really means, honestly, is that character choice has real consequences. Remember, coming back to the whole idea of curbing the habits of murder hobos can't just go killing in a city because all of the citizens and guards and police force within a city will descend upon that murder hobo and just wipe him or her out. The same thing goes with writing your own story. If you want to make character choice really matter, if you want there to be strong consequences, well, within a city, everything that a person does is confined, and that means that they have to live with the consequences of those choices, whether they be good or bad. And that can be a lot of fun to play around with as a writer, but it also means more work because now you can't just simply brush off choices that were made, words that were said, or a turn taken. Literally everything that has now been done is more meaningful because you can't escape what is now happening within the walls of the world that you have written. So bringing it all together, essentially what this means is that you have a very, very intricate story all playing out well within bounds that you as the creator have set, and that just means that you have a lot of vibrant opportunity to do so much with your cast of characters and with a whole slew of supporting actors. And that is tons of fun to work with as a writer. Again, the more focused you get with any story, the more in-depth and the more fun you can have, because you don't have to worry about balancing so much the characters with just this overwhelming world building, because everything is well contained. So, right there, that's my writing advice. That's my D&D advice right here for this video. If you're looking for more writing advice, please feel free to check out our other videos here on the channel, or you can also check out our podcast episodes found on Podbean, iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, the works. We also have writing exercises over at our Pinterest page, and we would love for you to join our community of novice writers. Links for all of those sites and more are in the description below. Please support us by liking, commenting down below, sharing our videos, or best subscribing. Actually, you know what? Even better. Please feel free to check out the books that we've recently published, Knights of Halicruise and Bleed, Steam and Steel. Links for those books are down in the description below. Thank you for joining us on this adventure that we call writing, and until the next video, y'all, tschüss.